Welcome to Evo Biz Devo with Isis Latham, your host, your hub for personal and professional growth since 2018. At Evo Biz Devo, we bring together entrepreneurs, business leaders, and change makers to spark ideas, share knowledge, and grow together. Stick with us as we explore fresh ways to expand networks, build resources, and create lasting impact. Let's get started. It's really a pleasure to be able to bring a new friend, but somebody that I spend a lot of time with. And so I feel like we've fast-tracked this friendship. And today I'm introducing you to a powerhouse in the world of purpose-driven entrepreneurship, BreAnna Finco. She's a business strategist, mindset coach, and the founder of Finco, the financial independence company. After burning out in the corporate grind, BreAnna flipped the script and created the Vision to Reality framework, a transformational system that helps high-achieving women simplify their businesses, align with their values, and scale with freedom instead of overwhelm. Her mission, you ask? Well, to break the chain of hustle culture and help entrepreneurs build businesses that feel as good as they look on paper, profitable, authentic, and joy-filled. You're going to love this conversation. Welcome, BreAnna.
Thank you, Isis, for having me.
Thank you. Well, let's start with your story. What was the turning point that pushed you to walk away from the corporate life and launch Finco?
Oh, man. Well, I hope you guys have tissues. No, I don't even know how many years ago. I would have to do the math.
Okay.
Addison, my oldest kid, he is going to be 13 next month. No, I'm not ready for that. But when he was in kindergarten, he brought home a family picture that he drew at school. And it was a beautiful picture. He was playing with his baby sister. And then Matt, my husband, was up there. They're all playing with the trees. And there was a rainbow and some birds in the sky. And I was right here. He drew me in a box at the bottom of the page by myself. And I was like, well, why am I down there? Well, mommy is at work. That's what he told me. And what I didn't realize is I had got so caught up in that hustle culture. Like, I didn't even realize I didn't have a plan, Isis. My plan was I was raised to be a good girl, go to school and get good grades, go to college and get a good degree so I could get into corporate America and get a good job and earn good money so that one day I could retire and be happy. Like, that's what I thought my plan was. And I was doing a really good job at it until Addison drew that picture.
Mm.
And so that was my wake up call when I was like, well, what am I even doing? Like, I am waking up before the sun rises so that I can spend 8 to sometimes 16 plus hours sitting inside of a cubicle just so I could get home and my dinner is waiting for me in the microwave and my kids are already sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm working my tail off for this family that I never even see. And so that was my wake up call. I told myself something's got to give.
Do you think that's the typical story for a lot of people, that they start to realize the life they're working for is not the life that they're living?
I have found that, Isis.
Yeah.
And I resonate most with what I call money making mompreneurs. We're in that hustle culture. We're trying to raise enough money to take care of this family, to take care of the kids and go on the vacations and live the good life with the big house and the picket fence and the dog in the front yard. But it's not just women. Like, men are actually up against this as well.
Yeah.
And what I'm finding, whether it's a man or a woman, we all know what we don't want. We don't want to be stuck in hustle culture. We don't want to spend our time inside of a cubicle. We don't want to be a slave to this job that doesn't fulfill us. But when we stop and actually ask the question, well, what do I want?
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't actually know that.
I'm curious if there was something different going on with your husband. I've never asked you this before because had he already had his awakening, or was it coming for him, or how was it that he was living a different life than you, and yet you're both in the same house, you're both raising the same family?
Yeah, so Matt and I are polar opposites. And I guess maybe that's why we work so well because we complement each other on the areas we don't have ourselves. But he is very much a go with the flow kind of guy. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if BreAnna's happy, then life is good. That's Matt. And so as long as I just kept trucking, I kept going, I kept earning, and kept climbing that corporate ladder, then we were happy. So we thought. And it wasn't really until the pandemic happened, which was well after Addison drew that picture in kindergarten. But it wasn't until the pandemic where we both were forced to slow down because he sat inside of a cubicle just like I did. And so we both stopped working inside of the cubicle. We started working remotely from home once the pandemic shut public down. Yeah. And we both just got really present to how unpresent we were. Because, like, all of a sudden, we weren't in a cubicle with people giving conference calls or presenting meetings, but we were having to help the kids with their schoolwork. They were trying to do school on Zoom, just like we were trying to work on Zoom. And they had questions and they wanted to play outside. And oops, now it's lunchtime. We got to make food. And oh, Madeline needs a nap. And so we just all of a sudden together kind of learned how what we thought was working really wasn't working that well.
Do you think that there is a different set of standards or expectations for the moms? You've mentioned that you really resonate with the moms, but it's not just that you resonate with them. There's a lot of women out there who are telling a similar story
Yeah.
about trying to trying to climb the corporate ladder, trying to get and find success or find and get success.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what are your thoughts on that? What's the drive behind it, do you think, that causes it to be so fractured?
Yeah, that's actually still an area I'm discovering and exploring for myself, but um I want to start and preface by saying I am pro equality. But I've been doing research and just looking at trends over the course of history and after women's rights, when women left the house and the family life, what you would consider traditional family environment, we started working and we started developing careers and we started going up that corporate ladder, right? And just slowly over the course of a generation or so, one or two generations, we've gone from women living full time in the house, and that was her role and expectation, to suddenly not only not being in the house, she's in corporate America or whatever job she's in, trying to work full time for a living. But then now there's that absence, that lack of a motherly presence in the home too. And so what I'm finding is it's not just mom and dad, it's the impact on the children as well. And that was like my slap in the face, right? When Addison was like, well, mommy's never here. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's just a byproduct of the American entrepreneurial spirit. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think it's just kind of got to the point where it's a hustle culture. And whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. The idea is that you work, you produce income, you provide value, and that's your role. And when both of the parental units are living with that perspective, it really fractures the family unit.
Well, and you said something interesting, that the hustle culture. I was watching a show last night briefly, and there was a number of designers, and they're on, a reality type show, and one of the people lies down and is literally like on a couch laying down. He's a young guy, and they come in and they're like, wait, are you all done? There's nothing more you need to do. And the person was giving him a hard time. Now, of course, it's reality TV, so of course they want to make it more dramatic. But it was really interesting to see the response. So the individual says, well, I can already pick your garment apart and tell you what's wrong with it. And and it was this idea of, how dare you be still? And the man said, hey, stress is the number one killer. Yeah. And he chose to relax. And I thought, oh, isn't this going to be interesting? Because if he doesn't win, it will be because he took a break. But will anybody say it if he does win, that it's because he took a break?
Right.
And that culture of you've got to go, 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 go. And I think this is just my personal belief that women are really good at taking a concept, applying it, and doing it.
Yep.
And so we said, oh, we've got to run faster than everybody else. We've got to move at 100% more speed. Okay, bring it on. We'll do it. And I think men have always been in that role as well, but we saw it as a challenge. And we're really good at accepting challenges.
We sure are.
Um, yeah, so take it for whatever it's worth, but I thought, oh, isn't that a beautiful thing that we're being reminded that
Mm-hmm.
stress is the killer, and by running around like a chicken with your head cut off, it is not going to improve your end result.
Nope.
So tell me, this really is a good lead in. I didn't try to create one, but thank you for
But
doing
since
it.
we're here.
You created this vision to reality framework,
Mhm.
and it's about helping entrepreneurs go from chaos to clarity. Tell me a little bit about what it was that you realized needed to happen. How did that occur? Because you were saying your own personal story, but you're seeing it in other people. It's not just a you problem, it's a lot of people problem. And how did that come to be? Just in however you want to tell
Yeah.
us about it.
Well, it was lived experience, if I'm being completely honest with you. So going back to the insurance conversation with Billy earlier, I am still in corporate America. That was my genesis, the reason why I started my business, but I'm doing both right now at the same time.
Mhm.
And so when I was doing insurance full time, I was living in Houston. So that's a whole different story for a different conversation. But yeah, I was working and living in Houston, Texas, and I thought I was living the American dream. Um, but then the picture with Addison, and I just got really present to how much I was working and I wasn't spending time with the family. And I was like, just hands up, enough is enough. And so I just went full force into business. I'm going to work for myself, stop building somebody else's dream. It's my time to do it my way. And so I saw an ad on Facebook, and it was about real estate investing, how you could use OPM, other people's money, and you could use OPM to get into real estate deals at no risk and get rich quick and fire your boss. And I was like, yes, let's go. This is exactly what I've been waiting for. And so I just head first, I dove right in. I had zero experience in the world of real estate investing. I'm a health insurance consultant. Not that I don't know anything about real estate, but it's not my forte. And so I went in with a partner, was going to buy a condo at Magic Mountain, which is like 30 minutes this way in Vermont. And the plan was to renovate it, turn it into a short-term rental, throw it on Airbnb, Vrbo, and then use that cash flow to replace my paycheck. And I was like, this makes all the sense in the world. It's totally going to work. But I had not done any research. I had zero vision, zero plan, no business plan, no budget. I knew nothing about anything. All I knew that I wanted to do a deal so I could fire my boss. That was my plan and my vision. That's all I knew. And so because I didn't know what I was doing and I didn't have clarity or any direction, I was just making decisions on the fly. And when you're making decisions on the fly, it can get really stressful, especially when you start talking about real estate and numbers that have a lot of zeros behind them. And so I started making emotional based decisions. And it was really painful as I was living it. But now I can lovingly refer to that deal as the deal of Murphy's Law. Anything that could go wrong, it did. Like I got my rear handed to me time after time after time, from the acquisition and my money partner leaving me, to the paperwork not being handled right, to not having a contractor, to not having a budget for the contractor after I found him, to just swiping credit cards because, it had to get 5 stars once it went live, right? And so I just wound up with all of this debt, but I was like, okay, I'm going to go live. We're going to launch. I'm going to make all this money. It's just totally going to be worth it. And we went live and we had all these bookings. And I was like, yes, I did it. It worked. It was ski season, right? So, of course, everybody's at Magic Mountain during ski season. Well, when ski season ended, it died. Like, we had no reservations on the book, all that cash flow I thought I would have, because that was another lesson learned. The pro forma I did was based on COVID data, and everybody was taking vacations during COVID. And so once the world opened back up, the vacation rental market just dried up. And so the money I thought I was going to have, I didn't have. The debt that I had, I didn't have the cash flow to cover it. So I was in the hole, and I was just like, oh, what am I doing? And so then a lot more stuff happened, but just for the sake of time in this interview, we'll just say, long story short, I tried a whole bunch of things that didn't work because my focus was firing my boss. So to answer your question, Isis, the reason we start with vision is because nobody knows what their vision is. Nobody knows what they want. We are so stuck. We thrive in this hustle culture. And so all we know is to hustle for money. And that's all anybody thinks about. We know exactly what we don't want. I don't want to sit in traffic. I don't want to spend my day inside of a cubicle. I don't want to miss my kids growing up. But when I make the money and I do get to fire my boss, what do I want? I didn't know. Like, somebody asked me that. Well, when you fire your boss, what are you going to do? That's a really good question. Yep. And so the more I talk to people and I share my story, I'm finding that I'm not alone. Most of us are out there just shiny object syndrome. We're just going for the next thing, hoping that it works. And then it doesn't. And we feel like a failure and we try something else or we give up.
After they do the visioning, what comes next?
Yeah. So when you go through the vision process, you have to also do some homework and you have to put numbers to the vision you created. Okay. So the way that I do it, we break it up into your dream day. Excuse me. Your dream day. If money's no object, how would you spend your day? You know, you wake up in the morning, open your front door. Where are you going? Who are you with? How are you getting there? Answer those questions. And then we do your adventure list in the same fashion. If you had all the money in the world or money didn't matter, where would you go? What would you do? What kind of vacations, like retreats, resorts? Like maybe you want to give back to charity. Maybe you want to create some sort of foundation, whatever lights you up, put it on the list and then put a number to it. And so this is where you really get to start dreaming, you know? So for me, my adventure list, number one item, Interlaken, Switzerland. I will be there before I die. And so I did the homework. I looked up how much it costs to fly from Vermont to Switzerland. What about a couple of Airbnbs when I get there? How much is it going to cost to stay there? Well, I have to ride the train in Switzerland, you know, all those beautiful mountains. And then, of course, the backpacking and the hiking. How much does all the supplies cost? And so you literally do the homework to put numbers behind everything you want in your dream life. And that's what I call your financial independence number. And so now you've got your starting point, then you've got your ending point, and then it's just a matter of using our framework to create your custom plan to get the action steps to go from here to there.
All right. And the framework is going to be coming out, right?
Yes.
Launch. So tell us about the launch.
I am so excited. Friday, May 16th at 12 p.m. noon. You are all welcome to join. I would love to see you there. We're launching the Vision to Reality framework because that's what it is. We show people how to dream, how to let loose and create this vision of life that truly lights you up, and then show you how to make it reality. And then we do that with another framework, FOSSM, Finance, Operations, Sales, and Marketing, because the idea is that you use what I call your Finco, your financial independence company, and that FOSSM framework to bring your vision to reality.
Okay. So somebody who's thinking, I love BreAnna's energy, I want to be in community with her, how do they do that? How do they orbit in space with you?
Oh, I would love that. Yes, that's going to be our private Facebook Finco group. I think you do have the links. I can share them here as well, but that's where our community lives and thrives. We are about to hit 1,000 members. So we've got a pretty good pool of entrepreneurs in there where we all could just collectively collaborate, talk, and do business together.
That's wonderful. And for the person who's thinking, I need to apply the system, I want to work with you, BreAnna, how do they go about that?
Yes, that would be a one-to-one strategy call with me. I'm always more than happy to give my time to people who are interested in empowering themselves, improving their lives. And so on my website, there's a link for a 15-minute strategy call, or I can share my information here.
That's great. So, and what's the website for those that are just listening and maybe don't see the links?
BreAnnaFinco.com.
Well, that makes it pretty
Try to keep it easy, right?
Wonderful. Well, it's been such a pleasure having you as my guest here today. We're really looking forward to our upcoming mastermind. That's the second half of our weekly meeting. And for those of you that are listening to this on the recording, if you want to meet other amazing entrepreneurs like BreAnna, and those other people that you've seen here that have been featured on Evolution Business Development, then you need to show up at 11:50 a.m. Eastern Time until 1 p.m. Eastern. And you get to be a part of all the behind the scenes of this as well. So we want to thank you for being here with us today, BreAnna, and thank you for a great time.
Thank you for having me, Isis.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Want to be our next featured speaker? Click the link in the description to register, and let's stay connected. Follow me on all those social media platforms for financial tips to help you make your money work smarter while you build financial stability. Stay tuned for more, and see you in the next one.